Trivedi, one of the renowned HR tech leader and the global award winner and the world record. You have your personality itself to and a great introduction to my viewers who are going to watch this interview as well as who are going to read on the People Manager magazine. It was going to be a fantastic learning for them how they can become the tech enabled HR.
Awesome. So first of all, let me put my thanks and gratitude to you, Virji, for organizing this discussion, and my great and best wishes to Manager magazine also. And I'm sure that this is going to support hundred thousands of HR aspirants and HR people who are looking forward to get a knowledge repository. And even best wishes to your People Manager HR Tech Talent Conference also, which is happening. So all pleasure of mine. Whereas to support a few thoughts which probably can inspire few people. So that's
So what the learnings we have with this conversation today. So first come through that every industries and everywhere there are some history, there are some stories behind to becoming something or be someone as in the great personality like Dr. Vivek Trivedi. So first I want to ask with you that is just share with us that your journey and that into especially the HR domain starting as in the career in HR, now becoming the top 50 HR thought leader, tech thought leader, or the HR tech, as well as the world record winner. How this journey has been started and now becoming the recognized thought leader. Just highlights the man points of your journey so that it can be inspired the other businesses leaders, CHROs into the future.
So awesome. That's how, and with humble gratitude, I would like to present, my
Thank you so much.
small journey here with respect to, as Steve Jobs always mentioned, you can connect the dot backwards.
Yeah.
You cannot connect the dot forward that way. So, when I look back my his journey, I see that I was part of Fortune 500 companies as a big HR senior leadership role, and working 9 to 5 and happening and happy life. All that thing was pretty cool, and I was very fortunate having experienced that. But what was the ikigai and what was the question which was further always in my mind is that what next and why? Simon Sinek, again I quote here, is that why am I doing this and what next kind of thing. So that's how my entrepreneurial thought process got in picture. And then I thought let me do something for a people who are completely devoid of that best knowledge. And that's what shikshakji.com born in out of pandemic. It is something which has started during pandemic, and that time I just thought of starting something where any venture where it can be related to HR for sure, and how the technology can become more supportive to the people. And
Right.
I mean, why Shikshak ji? Because as I come from an educator's family, and my grandfather was vice chancellor, my father was principal, and I born on Teachers Day. So connecting all the dots together, our team got a complete thought process, and then we zeroed down to shikshakji.com as a name, and that's how the journey started. So first I started my sessions in IIT, IIM, Narsi Munchi, all the top B schools that matter, and enlightened more than 3,000, 5,000 plus people, students, during pandemic webinars and all that way. While I published my 2 books also that time, which has got done on Amazon and other, book platform. So that was the journey. Then afterward, when we started shikshakji.com, then the major question was that how and what we can do to support the HR fraternity. And that's what it came. And then I started becoming part of various startup forums, associations also, and trained not lesser than 27,000, including from all the walks of the industry, all the walks of the level of the company. And that's what I mean, I started sharing the knowledge, and God has been kind. that sikshakji.com born, and that's what it has started enlightening it. And in a very short span of time, I got almost 30,000 followers on LinkedIn, and then I started polling there. I started sharing my views on that. And then somebody has mentioned that to why shouldn't this become the people centric approach, and how shouldn't it can get more connecting to the people, and that's what the thought process came to create a world record, that why shouldn't we share those best practice in terms of getting those technology and HR together. And that's what we work very closely with the OMG group of world record, what I can say, that team, and then our team worked together, and that's what we created this recently. Taking the clue of Gemini, Google Gemini, Copilot, Microsoft Copilot, and even related to Chat GPT. So that's how we are able to create the world record. And top HR tech leader, the case studies has been recognized by World HRD Congress, and that's what, like, I became fortunate enough to get a one more listing in a top HR tech leader globally. Yeah, so this
Great,
has been the
great.
journey so far.
It is a fantastic and inspiring journey for, even though I am very, okay, sorry for the, so
No
here,
problem.
that it is a great and fantastic way that you have been started from as an the HR from the beginning, and now you are the renowned, the world record winner as well as the top HR tech leader. So at this stage, my question is to you that what inspired you at that as you are from the background of education, is your parents are from the education background, as well as you also shared that you born on the teachers day. It is also one of the coincidence with the all that becoming as a teacher, so that's why you started at the shikshakji.com. And now, so the question which I want to ask to you, which is also more inspiring to me and the other the HRs and who are into the businesses and who want to be in the business or who are into the HR, especially what inspired you to focus on providing the HR support, especially for the industries and different industry startups and SMEs, and now you are also associated with the global industries, and where you are focusing on helping the industry owner, business owners.
Yeah, so boardroom to courtroom is like always a question mark, that whatever we are deciding in the boardroom, shouldn't we land in the court, so that one thing rather, but we wanted to change the approach, and I wanted to get into the thought process that your boardroom should get into showroom. What does it mean is that whether you have got a 200 showrooms, or whether you have got any platform, you know you should get the complete implementation happen from top down approach. So it should not be only a strategic level discussion which can get into only boardroom and a CXO level, and in those cabins. Rather, this should get translated to an execution level and an implementation level to the people who is the lowest of the operation, in terms of the management cadre. So that's how this was a fuel, this was a propellant for me in terms of working out the thought process, that why shouldn't we create a methodology which is a 3P methodology for a complete business owner, where HR can be popular, HR can be productive, and HR can be paperless. So that one we can support the ESG guideline of United Nations also, taking care of environmental sustenance and governance that way. The second one can be related to the productivity, so that HR cannot be a cost to an organization, but this can be a return of the cost to an organization. And HR business partner should not get only connected to HR business partner. They can transition themselves to HR strategic partner, and that was
Yes.
HRBP should get converted to HRSP, and then the popularity has to get into more thought process, because then only the change management can happen in any organization, and that's what you can bring the change. Because if you bring the change to one person, it will definitely bring change to the team and then to organization, And when the team get changed, the organization get changed. When the organization get changed, industry get changed. When this industry get changed, the whole ecosystem get changed, the country and then the globe. So that's how, HR are the catalyst, no doubt. And if we can bring those value addition to them, they will embrace the change, and that embrace will change the whole industry, and that's how it will change the whole economy. So that's what, because business owner for that matter or founder that matter, they can focus more of a business. HR being catalyst, they can get into the change agent, and and then from taking the profitability to the next level, definitely you will hire more people. When you will hire more people, your whole growth of the industry will happen, and that's how this becomes the complete food chain or a fusion approach, what we called about in terms of developing the people segment. Yeah.
Yeah, it is a great thought that, and that your journey as in the founder and CEO of the Shikshak Ji, and your journey as in the CHRO with the big number of the organization. It is aspiring every new coming leaders and who are as of now the mid level HR professional. And in the future, they have to become the CHRO of the organization. But here is the one thing: they need to be also balance and cope with the technology, emerging technologies. In that, how they can adopt that you have been properly adapted, and that's why which inspired you to be as in the support tech into the businesses. When it has come to that, you are especially not focusing from the mid as in the HR, you are focusing to helping the top notch leader like the boardrooms. There I also come through that you have the one special especially the P3P methodology you are using. So what is this methodology, and how this your the methodology is helping the businesses in this tech world? Can you elaborate a little bit on this?
Surely, I think that's a pleasure, and that's really important for the business owners. And I'm sure that this can be really an interesting point for all the CHROs also, and even the boardroom executive and the CXOs also, that how this whole process can be followed in terms of paperless, productive, and popular thought process of an HR ecosystem. So when we talk about paperless, we have to reduce the pain area, not only of an HR but even for the employee also, and even related to the business owner also. Though it's a cost, it's an iota of a cost, but it's a cost. So while doing that paperless, one, I can save my planet. Second one is that I can save the time of a person while getting into more automated manner. I did not have to write my 10th class, percentage to 10 different places. Rather, with technology approach, it can be done very easily. And now third one is that most of the companies getting hybrid model or getting into gig economy, getting into moonlighting, latest thought process. What happened? I cannot be totally dependent on the paper centric approach.
Right.
Rather, it can be paperless, so that I can scale anywhere. Today, if my person is joining in Chandigarh, or if joining in Kolkata, doesn't matter for me, because it's a completely remote approach. I need not have to dependent on the paper, getting signed, then getting courier, coming
Right.
to my corporate office. Again, somebody has to scrutinize, some auditor will come. Again, this is becoming a very, very hectic job for everyone. So that's what, we are by, God's grace, we are able to get 70% of our all clientele completely paperless approach at this moment of time. We are yet to reach 100%, but yes, the journey has been started. So that's on the paperless side of it. When we saw paperless, we got productivity is quite interconnected,
Yeah, definitely.
because when you are not spending too much time on doing the paperwork, creating the framework and all those things, you get time free. And when you get time free, you can make that time useful for the other HR related activities, which can be more employee centric activities, and where you can either build a knowledge repository, or you can get into some high tech, when I say high tech tools which can be useful for your organization. You can embrace those technology, you can get the people ready for that, you can get into a learning and development approach, internal versus external. You can do succession planning in much better manner, you can do talent reviews. All those things can be happen, where your presence is required. And if your presence is required and you are getting time, then you can make it very well in terms of the productivity also. That's a second approach. And when you ask the people what is really asked, you become popular. So if you are not asking for the people to sign hundreds of the form during interview or even during the onboarding, there was a joke that when the person joined, uh, he was asked that what was your experience, and he said that let me overcome from the number of the 48 signs what I have done that way. So when you are actually making the life easy, employee consider you as a partner, not
Yes,
like as a order giver kind of thing. So then it becomes the popular one.
yes,
Second is that when you become a strategic partner to any business, you understand the pain area,
yes,
and then
definitely.
you get into the thought process where you take the knowledge repository from the best practices, you implement it as a catalyst, you get it not only from the board or a chro level thought process, rather to an execution thought process and to an operational thought process. Then it becomes more popularity. And this comes out in any kind of employee satisfaction survey, that yes, these are the productivity, these are the process improvement which I noticed, and that's what I'm very happy with my HR. So that's how the 3P approach comes in picture. And you know not only from a board level approach, but even at an operator level approach also, this is getting very much adaptable to all the levels of.
Great, fantastic.
Yeah.
So it means into the tech world. So the technology does not helping from the board or either the HOD's level. It is your bottom line also. But the thing is here that the CHRO have to think into the right way, and they have to think it steadily. They have also to focus on their pain area, and that pain area which is pinching to you. If you are enabling yourself with the tech, it would be a ease for you and relaxation, where the HR would spare their time for the strategic role which is required into the businesses now.
Exactly. Yeah.
As
Yeah.
you have been said that you are using the 3P methodology, and which is especially
Yeah.
the paperless as part of we are into the tech world, the popular and protective. So just give me or give our readers and the viewers the one small elaboration how this methodology 3P can help or benefit the industries, or especially when we are talking about the HR field and we are for the HR domain. And so, in that case, how this 3P methodology of yours is going to help the industries, industry leaders, CHROs in future, and even though in the today
Yeah.
also.
Right. So I can start with a smaller lighter note that and there was a joke. So I would like to share the joke here, that there was a guy who was supposed to join in a company, and while joining the company, he was about to write 48. He was about to sign on 48 documents. Okay. And then he got completely fed up of signing the documents during onboarding, statutory documents and XYZ and all those things. And then he mentioned that and during his exit interview, HR manager asked the question that why are you quitting? He said that it's too much of a documentation. Okay. Then when the discussion continues further, then he mentioned that even post exit interview, the HR mentioned that even post exit interview also you have to sign 24 documents as an NOCs and all that. So while the world is moving toward the next level, why shouldn't an HR? One. Second is that we always look forward to support our Mother Earth also, and a global scenario, supporting UN, perspective in terms of ESG, environment, sustainability, and governance. So, definitely we as an HR also have got some responsibility to support the whole climate and to support the whole planet and support the whole, initiative. So then I thought, why shouldn't I can take this initiative and look forward to create a paperless HR environment.
Wow.
And yeah, that's a first thing. And in our MVP, when we do that, minimum viable product line, we understood that even the bigger companies have a bigger impact when they become paperless, and they can do really wonders in terms of supporting the complete, climate change and the planet perspective and all that way. So that's how the whole brainchild happened in terms of paperless. And believe me, Birji, it's very easy to make the organization paperless, particularly in HR perspective. One. Second, when the things are moving from cloud to AI, we have to generate ourselves or we have to graduate ourselves from level one to level two. And in that case, we have to look forward that how can we reduce the cost also. Even the small paper, again is a cost to an organization. So why shouldn't we can have those cost cutting as well? In terms of, I cannot say cost cutting, but it's a cost optimization, so that you can optimize it and it is supporting the people also. 100 of the companies are actually going to a hybrid model. Again, it will become a very heavy burden on you, including the top techies of the world are, supplementing hybrid model. And there is a company like Git Lab, if I can just quote here, 28,000 people working with almost 120 odd companies and with zero office.
Wow.
Zero office. And this is not something which has arisen out of a pandemic. Even by 2010, they got the complete framework done that we can operate without an office. And this is a fact. So if they can do, why can't we? And we can get inspired from that, and then we can reduce all the way. So that's how the paperless concept came. And then, I mean, we are very fortunate enough to 80% of the client is already going and saying no to the paper.
Yes.
That's a one. Second is that in terms of productivity, again, this is quite connecting to paperless thought process, because when you are having the clarity, I was just connecting by my previous answer when I was saying that talent attraction is a major challenge. Why that's a major challenge? Because people are not having clarity in terms of their roles, responsibility, job description, and all that. So that's the reason, the productivity also hamper from top level even to the operator level also. And that's what the productivity also comes in picture. And we have to see that how the productivity can be done, with respect to, and it shouldn't be just a one-time affair of a performance appraisal at a year-end process, but it should be a continuous review mechanism, so that if there is any course correction needed, it can happen during course of time, and your next month or a gradual month or a successor month can be better than the previous. And that's how the productivity comes in picture. Popularity, yes, because as I mentioned that HR should not be only related to time office or should not be only related to a salary disbursement function, rather, like, and it shouldn't be only related to connecting to some kind of, like, festival celebration also, when we talk about an employee engagement as one definition of it, right? That's what we suggest, that it should be more related to a connectivity where people and HR should get properly engaged with the people along with a solution centric approach. And that's what HR becomes popular. As I say, no two business are alike. Same way, no two human or employees are alike. So even
Yes.
their problems are different, and you cannot have a one size fits all approach in terms of giving a solution. So that's what HR has to move towards a solution centric approach, and then it has to become, like, the voice to the employee level, where an founder or a promoter or a business owner or a top management should understand that what is a need of what is a pulse of an employee, in my organization. And that's what these three P came in picture. And and we are quite fortunate enough to support with this 3P methodology to most of our accounts and clients so far. Yeah.
Definitely, this is a great thought that come to, and how this 3P methodology is going to help the HR. Even though when I was especially working into the organization as an HR, so there we just place into the downline of the mailer, if not required, kindly do not print. Now it is becoming very aspiring to us that, oh, there are now the companies who are especially are going even without offices, as well as the paperless also. That is possible now into this tech world. So this is a great and fantastic thing is coming for the HR, providing the multi-level of solution and making it to be global HR, the aspect to be bringing especially focusing on now the skill development of the people and driving the success. Earlier it was the where three people you required into your team for the thousand number of the jobs and paper jobs into your organization. That would be a great thing coming up further for the HR domain and helping them too much. Now the question number question number four. That is now how that the paperless aspect of your methodology contribute to the efficiency of HR process. I think this question has been already answered.
Yeah, I mean a bit of it, and moreover, what happened when you reduce your workload,
Mhm.
even from managing the papers, files, bundles, and chunks of cabinets to
Mhm.
a tech platform or a tech,
So
what I suggest is
enabled
that
just
paperless actually get very supportive thought process for any HR, because when you takes care of so many papers signing versus so many filing versus so many cabinets versus so many almiras versus so many offices, then what happened, you have to have so much of things to manage. But when it becomes completely tech enabled, your life become very easy, very simple, very productive. And
right.
that's what the paperless get connect directly to the productivity of an HR, you know people as well, and HR employee as well.
Definitely. So it is a
Right.
great thing because that now the era of the way organization or maximum the ITs. However, the manufacturer
Correct.
cannot move as in the office less or especially the hybrid. But where they
Yeah.
the manufacturing also have some the logistic part and where they does not require physically the resources in their place, so they can make it as in the hybrid workplace. But for the ITs, MSc, not MSc also coming to the manufacturing, but for the service industries, it is possible for them to become the paperless and the officeless too. So it is a great thing that the HR technology and especially the AIs and the generative AIs that are coming through and helping the HR in the more vast way to focusing on the growth of industries. Because it is said from where we are now that following the 100-year-old the especially the guide which has been placed by the westerns, but actual that does not also come in through the practices when we have been went through the very thoughts and the models of the different level from the global who has been given. But when it come to the practically when we are implement there, we have to go with our own journey, so that it is called whatever we have been learned from anything. But when it is about inside our culture, how it would be, that would be make more. So that's why maximum number of the CHROs they fail, because when you are learning something, if you want to implement that in the same way into organization, it will never be succeed. So you have to make the combination. So that's why the HR tool, the modern world of work is going to help to the CHROs, and that is the way forward as in the paperless. That is a truly becoming the possibility for the HR function. Now the question number five, that is especially when it is going to be as the technologies are helping HR and especially making them more efficient to generating and helping the organization to succeed in that case. So what are the different ways that you specially apply in the HR tech solutions and which are popular and accessible to all the industries, which can be help them considering their unique challenges and constraint with the tax solutions? As of now there are the challenges by the HR, but still, because it is new technology where the people look forward to how they had to adopt it, so there might be possibly even that are the possible and their accessibility are also for every industry, but they have their unique challenges and the constraint. So what is your opinion and way you how you weigh out these challenges and constraint for making it easy for the HR professional to become more agile as well as the more tech friendly HR leader?
Yeah, I think that's quite interesting. And just to tell you that this is the main core of my fourth book, which is getting launched, on the, and we got it as an HR tech mantra. My
Right.
first book was interview mantra, then resume mantra and interviewer mantra. Now this is the fourth book which is getting published very soon, and which is an HR tech mantra, the next generation.
Right.
Yeah, and I'm going to put major of the case studies, all our World Tech record. Case studies also is going to be part of that book also, and the major part where we are focusing on the implementation.
Right.
How and what can be the way any HR for that matter can do that in a very seamless and a easiest manner. So this can start with one small pilot project, and we call it as an SEO approach,
Okay.
strategic execution and operator approach. So we
Right.
don't want to get the complete change management happening to all across organization, but it first goes with a strategic level.
Wow.
And when we talk about a strategic level, they are the people who are senior manager and above in any organization and
Definitely.
who embrace the technology, who know that technology is very important. And if not me, then who? Kind of, So then we first of all suggest them to get a complete buying from S level, that's a strategic level, and a
Right.
senior manager and above in terms of any change matter for them. So that's one. Now when it comes to strategic level, then this strategic level people become the quality champion or a change champion for the execution level. So HR only did not have to drive through an organizational level, but it drives through a layer by layer. So a
Yeah.
strategic level becomes the complete champion to the change management, and then they translate those sweet memories or sweet taste to their executives to the
Right.
next level, managerial level, right? And once the managerial started getting the complete results out of it, then it gets into the operational level. And when it gets to the operational level, the whole organization becomes like the 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 change management or the change catalyst toward that side. So that's
Yeah.
what we follow SEO approach. In terms of getting those any kind of change management implementation in any organization, and we are quite fortunate in terms of getting those supported framework also with a top-down approach.
Wow. That is a fantastic way to how that the now, especially when we consider about the CHROs. However, it is just in the 90% of organizations, CHR, the operation manager still. Even they are sitting into the boardroom and their role is to direction coming from their stakeholder, their management only. But that your strategies, it is especially in the future and through the strategic way you are going with the SEO's concept, it is helping them as part, especially focusing from the strategy, because strategy is
Yeah,
one of the part. If your strategy are strong, it means like the foundation. If you are building
correct.
a house, when your the foundation is clear, it is deep, so it means your house for the 100 years and more than 100 years will be there. There are the many architects which are still from the 500,000 years are still, so that is their back, that the foundation are the strong. Similarly, what I consider from your concept of the SCOs, it is going to help the CHR in the more elaborative way to helping them and to become really the business partner, and the
Yeah,
helping the businesses to grow tremendously into this tech world. So now come to the
yeah,
question number four, that is about the sixth one. So can you just give us some examples when we consider about the paperless HR, when we consider about your the new terminology you have been elaborated here, where there are the some challenges and constraints. Then after it come about the some examples how the productivities can be enhanced through this approach you have been just share with me, so that your SEO approach, so how the productivity is enhanced through your approach in the customer you have been providing with the services so far.
yeah. So I think if I can just quote few example, and one of our US client, so they are one of the Fortune 50, not even 500. They are the Fortune 50 number in terms of remote working, and they are basically in the language translation, space. And they approached us in terms of getting this three-piece methodology and all that. So, it was quite an interesting fact what we have done with them. We understood the complete roadmap. We did a gap analysis. It always started with an HR audit. From HR audit, we did like, the complete gap analysis. And from gap analysis, we created a complete roadmap. And then we thought that what all, can be done as a low hanging fruit in a quarter one, then quarter two, quarter three, and quarter four, so on and so forth. So, if I can just tell you the tangible side, they actually move from talent management level or talent maturity level as defined by Gartner, TMM level 1 to TMM level 3. So within 6 months, precisely 6 months, 25 days odd, they reach from TMM level 1 to TMM level 3.
Wow.
And with this, their productivity has got increased by 37%. This is captured, and this is like came out as a case study also. And we are going to have a white paper also on this particular case study. So that is one example where it is actually moved like in double digit. One. Second, a very traditional client of ours. When I say traditional, 60-year-old organization in India, and like they have got various manufacturing units, and as well as the complete corporate and all that, working with more than almost 700, 800 employees that way. They were also quite, looking forward to the change management, but that was a major reason. They were not able to do that because everyone was having the resistance. Then we got into that SEO approach, and then what we thought is that we created a quality circle, and we created the departmental, like
Fantastic.
HODs, the CXOs as we talk about, like
Right.
that they are the people who will get to know about all those information, and they are the people who can cascade it to the next level. Then the very interesting thing came is a gamification. Then we
Okay.
introduced the gamification, that instead of like any kind of process improvement, if you are doing it, like I mean, you will get a some point attached to it, and once the point can be convertible point to Amazon voucher and so on so forth. So that way the gamification happened, and afterward what we understood is that the whole sales, because the major thing was related to the sales side, has got increased by 17%. And like even we are yet to reach out to that employee satisfaction survey to that part, but again the engagement level got very high increase. Retention ratio has got reduced by 35 odd percent, again in terms of attrition analysis when we did year on year basis. So that way, so these are the two major case studies which I can just share, and soon we are going to have a white paper also on that.
With the going with you and helping into the tech world, and especially what I can say and what I mean from it. So it is about you have been creating the big word in a small packet. So
Yeah.
that small packet is going to impacting the whole industry, especially that as you are the global presence now, it is going to be help you and the HRs and the organization leader and CXOs, you are your businesses and your the methodology is going to be help them. It is most important to them, but they have to be one time they have to make the trust. However, your strategy that are especially does not maybe may never be failed. It is going to help them all the sides. There are what I can consider there are no side to be chances of failing. So now come to the another question, and that is about the what especially some common challenges that the businesses or especially the different industries their leader which we call as the stakeholder or who are the business owner they faces, and what are your the opinion, and how does that your the methodology address these challenges for the industries when we consider as the HR, CHROs, it is now when it's come to the strategic role of the HRs, they are the advisor to the their stakeholder, their managing team, their boardrooms. So that's why what as in the thought leader, as in the world record winner and the under the top 50 tech leader. So what are the common challenges you have been seen so far as faced by the business owners, and what is your opinion on that, and your methodology will address these challenges for the businesses?
Yeah, so I think if I can just put it in some word. So first is the dependency. So there's a complete dependency from the HR perspective, that what my HR says is always right, but it may have a better version also. So that's what we always question, that we always argue that like if you are from service industry, probably any best practices can be adopted from an IT fraternity also, or banking financial also, or maybe like any other manufacturing setup for example, that way. So that's the first thing which comes in picture. The second thing is in terms of like the clarity. So let me just put it in three words. This is called as clarity, connect, and charisma. Okay. So clarity is something which is always missing. Like, and then that's what they always face, that like talent attraction is a challenge. Talent retention is a challenge. When talent get retained, then talent development is a challenge. When talent development happen, then succession planning is a challenge. So that's how, like, there's a complete challenge framework, which any business owner follow through. So that's a very what I can say, that pragmatic or a prominent in nature, which happens. Now, what can be the solution which can provide is that, the connect. So
Yes.
first was clarity. The second is connect. Now, connect is what? That they have to connect with the best thought leaders and understand that how this can change the whole ecosystem. And like, the visibility toward that side, or to follow through that. And there are hundreds and thousands of the free resources available. Even the HR thought leader like David Green, or like, even for that matter, when we talk about any HR thought leader, they look forward that why and how the whole ecosystem is getting changed. So
Right.
they have to have an inquisitiveness toward that, and they need to create a connect to those thought leader, those industry expert or HR stalwart, who can give them the best experience and the knowledge also, and doesn't require, everything doesn't require a cost. It requires an intention that yes, I want to improve myself, I want to know that what are the best practice, like why the person should join my organization. And there are in fact not lesser than 20 reasons which I can tell you, quoting from the study, like even Deloitte or the big four has already done that, that salary is a fourth parameter. There are other three parameter also which comes in picture, and those parameter you can definitely give a very great experience to anyone. Like for example, that when anyone work in your organization, you have to find out that what are unique selling propositions in your organization which
Yeah.
nobody else is offering, and people will be ready, because nowadays, as we talk about the work environment, system is also getting changed, ecosystem is getting changed, and that's how you can get into charismatic approach,
Yeah,
like,
definitely.
that. Yeah, and these both connect dot together, which one is called as clarity, then connect, you can create a charisma. And
Yes,
this
definitely.
charisma is nothing but it's like, your employee referral program, where you can start getting more and more people referred to your organization without putting too much of a cost. So that's how the whole triology works here. Yeah.
Yeah, fantastic, fantastic. This is your 3C, which is the greatest methodology to helping the CHROs to next stage. They can help the businesses through driving the right approach to succeeding of the business. Now it is the tech word, and there are now the multiple tech solutions are coming, and which you have been elaborated. It is going to be a great the future of word for the HR domain, especially not into the HR domain. It is also helping the businesses too. So now come to the another question, as I have been come through that what are the different challenges, and you have been elaborated it effectively. What the CHROs as well as the industry leaders they have to do to overcome these challenges and with your methodology. That is a fantastic thing you have been shared. So now come to that the edge you have been shared on there when the businesses they have some doubts also. They are looking for the extent of the ROIs, and in that case, that how do you that ensure that your tech solution are scalable and adaptable to evolving the needs of every industries. Either it can be the smaller industry like MSCs, then it the mid-sized industry and the global level of the industries also.
Yeah, I think, framework is quite an important aspect what we have to look forward, and we have to see that where and how we can have our own smart goals getting constructed while we implement anything. So for example, that any CHRO for that matter is investing an X dollar, or to the tune of some X hundreds dollar, they have to have their own smart goals connected to that particular return on investment. So what does it mean is that, you will start getting the return completely towards the quarter one, quarter two, and so on and so forth, and then you can able to see the change, the fruits, the, like, the results, they started getting it to you. So that way, if you are having a smart goals and this is getting measured, definitely you can get a ROI in a very specific manner and segmented manner also. That's the first thing. Second thing, when we talk about the scalability side of it, what I suggest is that always go with a small, pilot project and a small set of the people. As a CHRO, you have to have a bigger vision in the mind. You need not have to have a myopic approach saying that I just want, like, take it to this level only. Rather, you have to have a complete hypometric approach that how this can be supporting to even the lowest cadre of my environment. When I talk about up to the trainee level, generally this is one of the biggest failure which CHROs are, always having a challenge is that this always get into the boardroom level discussion. But when it comes to an operational level, they always face challenge. And believe me, even in my past organization also, this was a major concern, which was there. And even today also, when I talk to the executives from the Fortune 500, or even
Definitely.
for that matter, the enterprise level accounts, we face that this is a major challenge which happens. Now, what can be the solution is that have a clear calculation towards toward the cost optimization or toward the return of the particular investment, and then go gradual. You do not have to go at a very high pace, So version one is always better than version none. So go with a version one and then go to version two and version three and version none. Version
Definitely.
four and all that, so on and so forth. So that's the first thing. And there is a principle which we follow in marathon. I'm a marathoner also.
Wow.
So I love that sports and that way. So I picked up that principle from my marathon. Thought process
Okay.
is that there are two major principles which any marathoner follow. One is that parallel to the ground and slow but continuous. So you do not have to be very high exponential way in terms of like, putting a very high overburden to an employee, ecosystem. Rather, it has to go in a gradual manner. Like we called it as a continual approach. What does
Yes.
it mean is that it shouldn't go in a continuous, but a continual. You first go to stage one, stable it, go to stage two, stable it, go to stage three, stable it, and so on and so forth. So that way, what happened when you pick up only two process improvement also in 6 months, or even for that matter, like half yearly approach, you will actually see that there is a two change improvement which is happening, or process improvement which is happening, and which can be quite realistic for the people also.
Right.
So instead of going for 20, process improvement centric approach, I can go with two approach and I can stable it and then I can go to the more. So that way, slow but continuous wins the race.
Yes, yes. What I can say
Yeah.
here, this approach is especially the winning approach. So it means sometimes when we consider also in our personal life, we go to like this way, this way. So ultimately, it will make the mess. But your approach, which I consider, if there are the 10 stages or the 10 different ladders are there, when we start from the beginning and first one and two, when we become prominent into that two stages, so it is the assurity or we are going to be succeed. Similarly, your approach is going to making the businesses succeed. So it is a great and fantastic the sharing you had been done so far. So when it is come to that you had been shared that the further the your tax solutions which is scalable and adaptable to evolving need of the industries, and then further it come to now that the what role do you see that the emerging technologies like AI, machine learning, which is going to play the future of the vital role into the future of HR for the either it is the MSMEs, it is the other industry. When we consider HR, it is about all the industries, not just in the MSMEs.
Yeah. So, definitely Simon Sinek put very beautifully in the book, Why, and, you should always have a clarity towards why, because what and how is known to everyone. So when we are going to tech enablement or when we are going to AI driven company, and for that matter, I suggest MSME is still on the back of the the layer as of now. Rather, the techies and the enterprise, or even the Fortune 500 levels and all that, they are quite already there in terms of adaptability quotient of that. I was going through one of the keynote recently done by Microsoft, Satya Nadella ji in Bangalore,
Okay,
whereas he mentioned that that next 10 years is going to be secured with AI technology, and
definitely.
that shows that how much we need to be adaptable in nature. Now,
Right,
coming back to the question in terms of like, that why and how this can be helpful for the people. First of all, I need to framing that which particular department is most greatest pain area for me. Is
right.
it an acquisition when I talk about talent acquisition, or is it related to learning and development, or is it people are not getting ready to get into the knowledge centric atmosphere and all? So that becomes a challenge area, or is it an attrition which is doing? We are doing one of the project with one of the very big pharmaceutical company, and they are doing an attrition analysis from last 10 years. In terms of to get a AI included in terms of going the predictive analytics of the attrition as well. Like if and this will get included in their interview framework.
Right.
Whatever the pattern analysis is coming from last 10 years, they will be inducing that in their assessment framework, which they will have going forward for that particular cadre of the people where they have got a highest attrition.
Yeah.
So that is a beautifully turning, is happening with respect to the pharmaceutical industry, if I can just talk about.
Hmm.
Now, no industry is disconnected with AI, and
Right.
they need to embrace that. Or AI is just one. Apart from AI, there are hundreds and thousands of other more technologies which is getting evolved, and we never know how fast it can get evolved, including like your Tally also, or maybe for that matter, even Jasper and all those things. There are many tools which is getting, and every day like there is a mushrooming tool which is happening.
Yeah,
So
definitely.
that's what we have to look forward, that how this can be very important and how we can make use of it. And if my why is clear, my how and what can be done in a very simplistic manner. So that's my view in terms of like getting the pragmatic approach. Yeah.
Yeah, fantastic, fantastic. So when it is going through that, it is most important for that whatever the technology, whatever the strategy you are going to, or any industry they are going to adopt. So that is most importantly and most that the in the tech world, when it is
Right.
going to we consider about the industry or especially the people management or the people perspective, then it come to the
Yeah.
HR CHROs now, especially considering about the CHR. So it is not the technology means they, it is going to help them and balancing their day by day in and out to helping the businesses to becoming more smooth. So that's why it come to the next question, that when there are the emerging technologies AI and that is going to be help into the different perspective you have been shared, but the next one, how these technology or especially what is your opinion that the balance the need for automation, and secondly that are the technology with the human element in a human resource management function. What is your opinion and
Yeah.
how that the this new terminology is going to help the HR in this making the balance?
Right. Absolutely. So as they always say, and even like we also believe that nobody can replace human.
Right,
you know and in human resource, the human is the most important, and that's how that becomes the evident to any methodology, or evident to any technology for that matter, because they are the human only who created that technology. you know so that's how there is no replacement to human in that. However, there are certain activities which may be called it as like uh, or repetitive activities, or which may be called as something like which can be monotonous activities, or this can be replaceable, and those activities can be replaced.
all right,
What happened, this will go to an advantage to my organization. For example, that if FAQs, I can just create it on cloud, and if anyone join my organization, they need not have to be dependent on HR to get their FAQs resolved or to ask those questions. related to any kind of work from home policy, for example. So, or like, moonlighting policy as we grow, that way this is getting very common. So, if I want to know more about moonlighting policy, I can just go to my knowledge repository and I can go that detail and I can enable myself. And if there is any further teething issues or any kind of like, the major issues come, then the HR comes in picture. One chatbot, which is actually becoming very simplistic way in terms of answering all the predefined questions. So I can just have a predefined questionnaire, and then this predefined questionnaire can be actually put through my HR tech platform, and there I can get the answers very easily. Now this is saving time for everyone,
Yes.
including employee, including HR, including CHROs, including like the top promoters, managers, and also on so forth. Now, if I'm saving the time, I can utilize that time in some better work. Probably I can have a better engagement. I can plan for some better strategy for my succession planning. I
Yeah.
can get into more of a learning and development approach. I can get into more and more licensing with the better vendors. I can have a supplier quality assurance with respect to HR tech for that matter, and so on. So I can enable myself also with respect to the latest technology. So that's what this can be a support supplementing factor, and this can be like something which is a facilitating enabler uh,
Yeah.
as an AI or a tech for that matter. Human, absolutely, it will be there because still that sentiment analysis is yet to come towards any kind of tech platform as of now as we speak. Yeah, but we never know down the line, 30 years or 40 years, probably that also can get outsourced. But when we talk about the approach, the human approach is absolutely completely replaceable. And these all text tools or that supporting whatever the technologies are getting enabled, this can become a facilitator. That's my view, and that's what I suggest. Yeah.
Yeah, this is a fantastic way, which is helping to the even though the CHRO and CXOs into evolving the emerging technology, how they have to adopt and what are their challenges. So when we have been find out that the how they can balance, and now it's come to just my request is to can you share some success stories or the case studies from your clients you have been dealing with, especially from the MSMEs, and that they have been implemented your 3P methodology.
Yeah, so I think like if I can just share a case study of a wellness company, so wellness is something where the people are having $100 million business also, and people are having $100 business also that way. So there's a big gap which is there, and organized versus non-organized also that segment. So our wellness client was having major challenge in terms of implementation of technology, and people were saying that "Ki this is all something which only the Fortune 500 or big companies, big corporates, require. The second misnomer was a cost. They were not ready to implement the cost also. They were saying that like I mean, better that those costs can be included in my business instead of putting into HR part of
Yeah,
it,
definitely.
that I can invest those things in my business, and then business can exponent that way. With our solution, they not only implemented this technology platform, however, they got a returns also within almost like 2.5 years.
Yeah,
So what does it mean? One is that attrition got completely controlled in that wellness also. The second is talent attraction, because wellness is something which is still in doldrums in terms of creating an employer value proposition and all. But when they see that, yes, now this is one organization where I need not have to look for going for like, the salary cuts, salary is not getting paid on time, or my leaves are not getting adjusted that way. So that kind of transparency, if I can just see here, definitely I can refer more and more people. So that's one story of a wellness industry, whereas it worked very well. The another industry came is like related to an IT company where the define and it's in Middle East and Asia. In fact, they have got a bigger 80% of the junk is from India, and the PMS was missing. Performance management system itself was missing, and it was more towards a perception mode. And when we implemented our 3P methodology, first of all, we told them that you need not have to get into the paper approach of still signing the things and all that. It has to be completely on the cloud and it has to go to completely in terms of automated process. So that's how the paperless came. The next thing came is like the smart approach of the PMS methodology. And then they got a very uniform distribution of an increment because they are basically in UI UX design, and that's again a very competitive market. So how they can have an increment, and if it comes in a structured approach, they feel very comfortable, and people also feel very comfortable that there is no biased approach which has happened, and I'm not getting surprised at the end of the year with the respect of the increment. Rather, this is getting implemented throughout a whole year, and if there is a course correction required, I need not have to wait for 1 year for that matter. It can happen at even on a monthly basis also. So these are the two success stories which has happened to us, and bringing on those success stories to the other major industry segment, this is becoming very easy for us, because the adaptability question, we call it as an AQ, is further getting increased towards the CHROs and even the founders of that matter.
Yeah. Definitely,
Yes.
definitely, of course. When it is going for the adopting any new technology, because there the fear behinds are there, and that may be either successful or not. Even though I personally has been faces the big tech which has been failed after spending of the crew. So that's why the managing or the approver of the financial investment approver, they always have that constraint to how much ROI it would give and how long time. But I consider here that the example you have been shared, it is the fantastic way to how the adaptability is going to improve with your 3P methodologies. So now come to the next question, that is about the advices you want to or you would give to the businesses or the business owners. Either it is for the startups, it is for the MSMEs, it is for the mid level, it is for the topmost of the organized. Still, the path of the possibility of improvement is everywhere. Even the we talk about the Google, we talk about the Microsofts, but still they are continuously moving on. So we cannot say that it is for the bigger organization. The advices are always there for the from from bottom to or smaller to biggest organization. In here, I would like to possibly ask your advices that how would you that give your advices to the business owners, and especially who are hesitant to adopt the HR tech solutions, why they must have to be
Yeah.
take care it.
Yes, absolutely. Very interesting question. And this is the need of an hour. And I'm sure that with this platform, this is getting voice to many people.
Yeah.
And this will become like some kind of supporting system for them also, because this is one of the biggest problem what they're facing. And most of either the board members are not getting ready to do any kind of implementation change management also. That's always there, because they are always looking for their top line and PNL numbers. So they are very much having employee or investor pressure in terms of they are not even getting time to look forward toward this aspect. One. Second is that even if they want to do it, again that becomes major challenge towards an implementation side of it, that either will take it only few quantum of a person or a few percentage of a people, they will adopt it and rest it will remain the same. And then what will the misnomer which comes out of what the resultant will come out, technology is not working,
Right.
or technology is useless, or technology is something which is not for us, or technology is something which we will see after down the line 3 years 5 years when we will become big like thing. And what big people say, that or an enterprise account says that that we are already so big, then how I can get the complete change management to all those people, like hundreds and thousands of the people, then again that becomes a big challenge. So small people or a small business owner always have a challenge in terms of one in the affordability, second one is in terms of implementation, and third one is in terms of adaptability of that, and getting into the day-to-day affair. That's the first thing.
Yeah.
That's with a small business owner. The second business owner is the mid-level, as you talk about MSME business owner. They are the people who have already got the high on the curve. But what happened again? They get into the complete business centric approach, and that's what they go back to the square. And when they go back to the square for one function, they don't want to experiment them to the next function. So for example, if finance, I actually burnt my finger with respect to some cloud or software. And when I got to know, no, like that traditional approach, legacy tally is good for me, then I will not look forward to get into the other HR tech experience also. Because I see that, like, if accounting can be happen through Tally, why need I have to go to some other software for an HR
Right.
and all that? So this
Definitely.
is one of the major challenge which MSME face. The senior level, or like the folks when we talk about a Fortune head level or an enterprise accounts or quite a conglomerate accounts and all that, the major challenge what they face is an implementation and the mindset, because people are already comfortable with respect to legacy system, and they don't want to get into like the complete change approach, and they say that, like, if things are happening with this way, how and why we have to change. Now we actually suggest a solution centric approach here, which is a three step methodology, and this can be fits to all approach, and this is something which can be you know supportive for any level of CHRO or for any level of enterprise account, which we called it as, first of all, like, three-step approach. First is called a zero cost approach.
Right. Great. Great. Great.
Okay. So zero
Yeah.
cost approach means that I need not have to incur any cost, and my CFO feels very comfortable.
Yes.
My finance controller feels very comfortable since there is no cost getting involved. You can do whatever you want to do it. And for
Yes.
example, like, job description getting redefined doesn't
Yeah.
require a cost.
Yeah.
It just
Definitely.
require a mindset. But if I can just create my job description is more competitive manner, and in starting, like, with my six factor approach, so what happened? This is a zero cost. Then once the zero cost approach happen, then I can get into the low cost approach, and where I can get a tangible results.
Right.
And this can be cost optimization, this can be process improvement, this can be related to any kind of tech enablement, XYZ, that way. So that it goes to the low cost approach. Even my finance controller and CFOs feels very comfortable. Oh, that's it. Just a iota of that percentage of a budget. I'm using it. I'm very happy. You are not demanding very big and fatty numbers. So I can definitely, like, give an answer to the board that way. So definitely, like, go ahead with that. Then if I get success in zero cost, to next to the lower cost, then I can look for a premium solution,
Yes.
because I don't want to compromise with respect to me becoming a guinea pig for the tech enabled organization, you know, who wanted to do freemium model, right? So what happened when they take a freemium model, they actually consider me as a, early access testing ground as an organization, where I, as an organization, should not look forward that. And in that case, I always go for a premium and best in the industry. So to sum it up, first is that it should be a low cost approach where you don't require any single penny to be spent. It's just a mindset which can get a complete turnaround. So that people can get a satisfaction, people can get a confidence in your approach. And that's what the thought leadership came in picture, that how your vision getting connected and you can be able to do the change management. So low cost approach, then it goes to the, sorry, zero cost, then it goes to low cost, and then it goes to premium. I will not go for a high cost. Then I go to the premium, because I don't want to get into the like, the catchhold of premium. That I am actually becoming a free user kind of thing. Rather than that case, I will get it implemented with the premium partners, or I can get it implemented with the premium thought leaders. And I can definitely go for a premium product also. And that's how you get into the continual journey of a change man.
Definitely,
Yeah.
definitely. It was a fantastic way that how especially the HR, or especially where there are the crunches and challenges are in part of in term of the money. So when it is this
Yeah,
approach, first we have to go that type of the first we have to be make the mindset. We have to change something. So there are the multiple
correct.
ways. One, when you are looking for the without cost or zero cost, then going for especially to low cost as you consider, then it can become a big when the organization going with the big transformation, so they can adopt the big cost. But it is most important the especially the board members and the CXOs, they have to be considered. Technology is not part of the HR; it is about their businesses. However, in some time their NLP, and it can show some impact for some period of time or in one financial year, but it is going to help them for the longer period of time and giving them that ROI which they never have expected. So that's why this the HR technology, and even though the technology in any field, that is going to help into the tremendously to improving their business success, and at the end that is all about their profit, that is all about their growth. And when they give all that in reverse to their employee, so that is the which is the big of the challenge, retention of their people and the great that the talent or the right talent into the organization. Fantastic way. And now come to the when it is come to that the solution adopting in the HR tech, it is enabling to the industries. Even though when we consider about the CHROs, it is the way and it is the path where the technology come through with the CHRO table. But further, when it is going to be happening to the next step, because the technologies are improving day by day. So here is the another question for you my side, that is, how do you stay updated with the latest trends and development in HR technologies? As you are the thought leader, you are into the business, then how you can serve it better for your the clients too, because the adaptation of technology one time, because it is required the multi-level of the modification according to the changes are going to happen in the globally. So how you be more stay updated and then help your client with those updation and the trends are going to change in the HR technology.
Yeah, I think subscribing People Manager, magazine, and going to People Manager HR Tech Talent. That's on the lighter note. But yeah, I mean, so this is the way how you get to know the knowledge about the thought leaders and the best
Yes.
practices.
Yeah.
So what you need to do and doesn't require a cost. And Virji, this is my personal experience that this just required the mindset. And I just need to get 1 degree extra on the daily basis. By the end of the year, I will be 365-degree extra.
Definitely.
You know,
Definitely.
yeah. So I mean, I just need to connect. I have to create my own network. With respect to the people who are talking technology. And
Right.
there are very simplest way you can do that. You can join LinkedIn Tech Network, and at least you can see that what is a vibrancy happening there. Or you
Yeah,
can join
definitely.
Quora groups, and you can see that what type of people questioning is happening. That's a second thing. Third thing I suggest, this tech talent platform, as we talk about, that goes without saying, because so many thought leaders, so many industry experts come, they share the best of the best knowledge in that. Subscription is something which is absolutely free towards the newsletters of the industry insights, like Gartner. So Gartner for HR is free for everyone. But how many people are making use of it?
Yeah, definitely. That is one
They
of
are
the things.
spending dollars and dollars and hundreds and thousands of the dollar in terms of doing the research, but how many people are making use of it? That's the one thing. Now, even in India for that matter, there are the companies like Teamly, Adaco, or Manpower. They are doing the salary benchmark survey every year,
Yeah,
and they
definitely.
are publishing their report. But how many business owner actually know about it and follow through it and take usage of it,
Yeah.
which is freely available resource? But it's only the enlightenment, you have to be aware about that this is something which is an outlook survey which happens from the staffing company. And how cannot I take an advantage of it? So I can have a salary benchmark here. and I need not have to be dependent on very heavy cost compensation and benefit consultants to create my salary benchmark. However, I can just do a comparative study of like three Outlook survey, which has been done by three staffing agency, and I can give this job to AI further to do a comparative analysis and come back to me saying that like what can doing the best for my industry
Yes,
or for the
definitely.
company like us. That we called it as a prompt engineering, and in prompt you mentioned that being a CHRO of an so and so organization, create a compensation and benefit comp and benefit strategy for my organization, including all those salary benchmark survey. So this is just one example which I just told you. And HR hire to retire. There are many things which can be done with respect to these free resources which is available and to keep themselves updated. You know, and what I suggest is one thing is that don't be cheaper in terms of your learning curve. What does it
Definitely.
mean? Is that you have to invest. Don't be economical in that. You have to invest in the knowledge forums. You have to invest with a knowledge expert, because what will happen then you will get an access to something which your industry hundred and thousands of the people are striving for, but they are not getting it. But if you are investing, you are actually becoming high on the curve, and you are getting an early mover advantage to that particular knowledge itself. So don't be like I mean economical or cheaper in terms of knowledge centric approach. Rather, always go with a premium approach, because this is your investment which you are doing it today for the next many decades to come over that way. So that's my approach in terms of updating themselves.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. However, my submission is updation means does not as part of the technology also, because as when we consider about the either businesses, either especially we are into the domain of HR and we are talking about the HR here. So HR is that only part, the asset they have, which cannot never and never let them down. That is their knowledge. So in that knowledge gaining, either it is HR, it is CHR, they do not they do not be cheap into that. When you are focusing on the cheap things, so your knowledge will also be cheap. If you have to drive and faster your career, so one time you have to go with the big, and that big is helping you for the long run, because you are today the HR executive, tomorrow you will be the CHRO, you will be into the boardroom to reaching to that journey in today's this world which has been started. However, the technology are coming there, it will be more wide. If you start today learning from the basic, so that basic is going to making your skill adaptable for the future, like the 2030, 2036, the 2050 also. So now finally, when we reach to this stage where we have been envisions all that a part of the technologies that can help the industries, that can help especially the people custodian, we consider it, we talk it as the CHROs, the human resource strategical leader. Now here I want to know from you as in the thought leader, so what do you envision for the future of HR support to the industry, whatever the industries, either it is the just in start and startups, it is the MSMEs, then is the mid number of the organization, but we just not going toward the big number of the organization, but in the three categories of the industries, what do you see that the future of the HR technology support would be there, and how do you plan to contribute to that vision into the future for the industries?
Yeah, I think very interesting question, and you know this gives us the reason why an HR should always follow Shikshak ji approach. Learning, always continuous learning approach. Like what does it mean is that uh, how cannot I build my own bot? Why shouldn't I can get dependent to any technology firm?
Right.
That should be an approach of an HR.
Definitely.
That how can I understand technology and how can I implement technology for my people, and slowly I can move this monotonous job or repetitive job or non-scalable, non-value added, non-productive activities whatsoever is there in the whole organization perspective. How can I become a strategic partner to that? And I started my discussion saying that HRPP need to transition themselves to HRSP. So HRSP is nothing but it's an human resource strategic partner.
Yes, definitely.
So I should become the strategic thought leader also, and I shouldn't be only dependent on the hire to retire framework. Rather, I can become the knowledge centric or knowledge repository for that particular industry. What does it mean is that when I'm actually in a recruitment and I can take an input of a recruitment, I can go to hiring manager and I can say that I'm not getting the candidate.
Right.
That's a very common approach we all follow, right? And we can say that either the salary is not matching, or the competitors are giving so much of benefits, or I mean the functionalities what you are looking forward is coming with not that cost. So I can give hundreds of the questions,
Yeah, definitely.
and I can give hundreds of the problem statement. But what in case if I can give a solution to that functional manager, saying that why don't you look forward to do some kind of job sculpting or job enlargement or modification in terms of job description, and why shouldn't you include those 1 2 3 as well, or reduce these 1 2 3 looking to our organizational approach. Then what happened, I become the strategic partner to that, and that's how I get more respect in an organization. Why? Because I'm solving the problem which is on table today, and which is a pain area of today's CXOs.
Right.
And if I can solve their problem, then I'm a strategic partner. And that's what HR has to move from business partner to strategic partner approach and have a solution centered connecting to that. So that's my view and submission.
Yeah, great, great. So when it consider about the ITs or especially the HR techs, so where it is considering as the future of the HR support required, it is definitely it is going to be more wide. So that's why the technology or support into the technology of HR is looking forward, and it has a big market into the which you have been especially focusing on the envisioning. So definitely your efforts would also help to the HRs in globally to adopting or especially the businesses. We does not consider it only the HR. It is about both the making a parallel balance between the CHROs and the CXOs, because ultimately they have to focus on their areas both side. When the CXOs facing or they define their PNL, their investment, HR have to focus on the people investment. So it is rightly that the technology support is going to a wide business into the future. Now come to the final questions which I want to hear from you, and our viewers and readers, they are going to be get it through further. It is going to a long journey for them to learning from this whole conversation today we had. And that what are your key takeaways and the messages that you hope the MSMEs and the businesses owner especially will gain from this today's discussion introduce it, especially when we talk about the HR tech adoptions and implementation in their industry.
I'm sorry, can you just repeat it once again? I just
So
missed
this
that
is
part.
the question that what are the highlights and the key takeaways from your opinion, or what you want to express to our viewers and the who are going to be read this interview later on, that the you hope that MSMEs, the business owners, will gain from this interviews, and especially it is regarding the HR tech adoption and implementation.
Yeah, I think not only MSME, but I can give a bigger horizon here, so that those who are inquisitive, definitely they should get a value out of it. So first thing, now what they have to do is the first approach is through a small gap analysis, that where is the major problem statement they are facing, because hire to retire is a ocean, and there are hundreds and thousands of the activities which get sub activities and all that, and whatever the SOP you can create, whatever the SOW you can create, but what happened, the problem remains the problem. So the first thing is that They have to observe the problem, that this is my the biggest problem and the topmost problem. One. Second is that, like, they have to gather the information in terms of that what are the available resources which is there, and how and what I can do that. Then afterward I can suggest something which is a unique approach, is that any don't follow any recommendation. Okay.
Right.
It's like, that you have to follow your heart, and what your conscience suggests, just go for it, because you guys are the people who are the rebellion. And I can say that, like, the businessmen are the rebellion. The reason being, they always go to, like, non-traditional approach, and that's what they get into. That there are hundreds and thousands of the people who keep on thinking that one day I will start the business, who keep on thinking that, like, the time will come, all the traffic lights will be green, and then I can start it. But it's other way around. You'll never get all the traffic lights green. And you never get a chance to choose your father, or you never get a chance to choose your pin code also, like, when you born that way. so
Yeah.
so that way what happen is that you have to embrace the change, and then those change can get into connecting the industry level. And always start small. There is a formula, like, which is very beautifully put forward, is that keep it short, keep it small, and keep it consistent. Like, there's a book, The Power of Habits, by
Yes.
Charles Duhigg, where he mentioned that how this can be stable and successful model is that you start small, you take it to a steady level, and then, like, you take it to any scale level to the next part. So that's how, when you follow this approach, this can be, like, one of my suggestion to the followers or to the people who are going through this interview, or reading through that. So that's one support or the suggestion which I would like to give. Second is that I suggest that learning never stops. So please understand that what type of learning I can take. Just a 2,000 rupees of a LinkedIn premium can give you hundred and thousands of, like, the courses very easily.
Yes.
Why don't you look forward doing that,
Definitely.
or a simple course on Udemy or Eco, what we called it as EDX or Coursera is available, and that's how the world becomes so small. So
Yeah.
why shouldn't you look forward the best of the best technology available globally, and why shouldn't you implement that in your organization too? Third one is that never hesitate with a failure.
Yes.
That it is going to happen, and this is must have. We called it, like, there are two approach. One is a zigzag approach, one is straight line approach. So a straight line is, everyone likes it, but there is no life in the straight line. It's
Yes.
only, like, even in our ECG, when we talk about, the zigzag approach is something which means that we are live, and when it's
Yes.
in a straight line means that there is no life even. So that's the reason I suggest that zigzag is bound to happen. Embrace that part, and when there is a zag, follow for zig.
Yes.
So zig
Definitely.
will also follow the zag, and that's how, like, the journey continues. So that's how,
Yes.
these are three approach which I would like to give it to the audience here. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Great. If I make it more simple, so zig and zag, there are the 2 points. One is the low and another one is the high. So these
Absolutely.
both points are important for either it is for our life when we see how
Yeah.
can we define we are life. So that is that zigzag is coming into that the vehicular the circulation is happening. Similarly, it is happening into the succeed when we start from the smaller. So it is the stage that we can go with the next some steady base, then going for the consistency. So it means that the zigzag that are some footfalls but that are making the straight road to us. It was a great that the conversation with you in this today's special session, exclusive session with the People Manager magazine on how to enabling the tech and becoming or enabling the HR as the tech leader.
Awesome. Yeah.
So that is great and the fantastic thoughts you have been expressed on the HR enabled tech. How the tech enabled HR, how HR can enabling with the tech to become the future strategic tech leader for the businesses and helping them or especially the business leader to grow their business tremendously with the people, because the human beings are a human, the emotional being creature, and nothing can be replace us. However, the technology are going to be help us to making or especially creating the easiness to adapting the new strategy, new way, and easing our day to day the activities and giving some relax in all those modes. So thank you so much,
Yeah.
Dr. Vivek ji, and this was a fantastic conversation with you today. And however, I expect it more that our the readers, our the viewers would also get advanced learning from this conversation. And further, you are the part of the our upcoming conference also. Your thought also maybe make the participants the aspiring them to really adopting the new technology into their organization. Fantastic. And your way to the approach from the boardroom, that is one of the best, especially the crunch faced by the HR and CHROs, where they have to transform their area, but it come to them as an hurdle when they have to get the investment, because the CXOs they focusing on their P&L, the profit and loss book, what it is saying. How much second the worry is about the ROIs it can be. But your thought, it's especially inspiring all CHROs what they have to adopt. Either it is especially going to making from the costless. Second, it is for the low cost. Then, if you are now have the all expertise that can help your organization tremendously, then you can think big through the technology. And definitely, I must say is here, the technology is not going to replace anyone. It is helping either HR, it is giving them space for more and deep learning to becoming more tech enabled HR for the future, because the future is tech enabled only. Thank you so much, Vivek.
Yes.